legitimately muted them. I think they legitimately muted.
I would not be surprised. I would definitely not be surprised if you mute yourself up against these boys on TNC. You can't fault them sometimes, you know? Still, it feels like it's been a while. We had that in one for our Western Europe matches a long time ago, maybe around 2018, if you remember that period, Mike. It was an OG match.
That was hilarious.
It's been how many years? 6 years? 4 years? 4 years? No, 6. Yeah, around 6 years since then, Mike.
Yeah, beautiful.
Ah, beautiful.
We got old, John. What can you do? We got old. Well, in fairness, we already were kind of old. We're just getting older. You know?
Yeah.
It's not very nice.
Can't go backwards, Mike. Just grow older.
Oh, you can. You know, I tend to quite often. Looks like we're going to go for a first blood attempt here between these two teams. TNC Predator. They're going to head down towards the southern bounty rune in that Radiant jungle. See if they can find themselves a quick pickup on the bounty. However, Bleed Esports, they are going to be waiting to see if Cox does remain around. As we have a pause coming out. Again? Okay, Jing now having problems. Interesting. I don't believe they see each other yet. I'm pretty sure Paulson is not spotted. Well, I mean, obviously they can see, they saw Cox, but Bleed Esports have not been scouted at.
Yeah, they have not yet been spotted under night vision. So they could still go for this play onto Cox.
Sticking around. Cox. Jackie going to reveal himself now. Cox still going for the bounty route. Will be able to get away with it. In fact, 4 bounties. The way of TNC to get started, but Cox is still in huge trouble. He'll get a stun off. He'll try to run, but the Frostbite will be able to lock him down. And First Blood does go the way of Say. The Bleed Esports, they give up 4 bounty runes, but they do get First Blood.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent time. Unfortunate that the goal does go to Say, but yeah, you take what you can get considering you lost all bounties. It kind of compensates just a little bit. To see him with additional mana regen in lane is going to be annoying to deal with. So there is that to at least strengthen the lane out there for Jackie. Taking a look at that mid lane once more. Emo up against Yoa, Zeus versus Ember. This isn't completely unplayable for Ember, but certainly not an easy time. You at least still get your lingering Flame Guard to clear out the creep waves. But Yoa's not going to be held back here whatsoever, unless Emo decides to really play hyper-aggressive once Yoa's out of mana. This is sort of down to the bottle usage as well, sustaining true on harass for both sides. I'm keen to see how often, again, both sides kind of contest, like even into the 4-minute water rune. It does feel like you have a lot of potential here, more so on Bleed. If Paulson gets some levels up and, you know, starts to get some space when Zeal can be comfy soloing, that mid lane can get a little bit explosive. Although Paulson, again, he's going to have to play a little bit more passive up top. It does take levels for the Dark Seer Spirit Breaker to get active. At the same time, TNC for Cuckoo and Palos on a Weaver Phoenix, they don't really have kill potential here either, so you're just going to be sitting back. You're more than happy to farm, but you do have to prevent too much EXP here.
Say picking up his 2nd kill of the game already on this Crystal Maiden as Jing does go down. Oh, this is the one lane, I think, for Bleed that can prove to be extremely potent. The classic CM Ursa lane, and we're seeing it again. Cox goes for a stun. He'll be okay for now, but the aggression certainly will not be slowing down anytime soon. I don't think here for Jackie, though, as I say that, he does get stunned up. Chase is on. Jackie might get punished, and he does. Jing with a bit of revenge here on the Dark Willow, though Cox still in trouble, but does get the stick charges and will be able to get away. But a very explosive lane already between these two teams.
And again, that's to be expected. You're running an Ursa CM. Seg gets First Blood, so he gets the early Basilius. He has a lot more mana regen, opting for the Arcane Aura as well. So he can sustain all of the spell spam, getting extra uses out of that Frostbite to isolate Cox. You will have to be careful about your spacing here, especially as Jackie approaches level 3, level 4. That kill threat grows even higher. And the area denial from Jing is really important in trying to keep this lane playable somewhat for Cox, but overall a very slow start for a Slardar in comparison. I don't think you mind that too much considering how much Yo is getting mid though. Like the way this Zeus is holding lane, 16-5 up against the Embers 10-0. Again, it's to be expected, but they did pick the Ember into the Zeus, and I mean, you're seeing the results. Again, they're not able to contest for these water runes just yet. Paulson does have level 2, but ideally you'd want level 3, level 4, so maybe a play on to around 5 minutes into the first power rune instead. I don't think again, like considering what you're gaining on the map, despite this aggressive bot lane, as long as this Zeus is building up, that does feel like where the tempo for TNC tends to come from anyway.
It's feel that way. I mean, obviously Emo later on should have his way with Yoe, but for now Yoe having a very good time on this mid Zeus's top lane. The swarm thrown out, not really mounted to too much here. Palos just kind of taking warning shots at Polison and Zeal. Palos has had a very good time on this this safe lane Weaver. No real contest being applied his way. 21-3 in terms of the CS score. It doesn't really feel like it's going to get harder as time goes on either for Palos. It seems like he's going to be just fine to continue this pretty dominant style of game as mid lane. Emo now dropping quite low. He'll go for the water rune. It looks like he will be able to get away with it as Yoe will be charged up by Polison, but they'll cancel the charge. Just happy that the Ember does survive.
But that does waste a little bit of a rotation potential. Hey, I suppose you don't mind giving Zeal all of the solo DXP. It does hurt the Spirit Breaker quite a fair bit, but I guess he does have his innate with a herd mentality. He should be able to soak up some free XP, eventually reaching parity with the rest of his team at some point. Still, 2-1 Bleed having decent enough times, at least for Jackie's lane, but elsewhere it is looking a lot better for TNC, the mid lane again. And as you mentioned, Palos up top, just having fun. Like the kill potential again for Bleed on Zeal and Paulson does take quite a few levels to come online. And you're up against a speedy Weaver, you're up against a range support as well in the Phoenix, but that can dive away if the threat is on, so isolating out the top lane doesn't feel as feasible as you'd want it to be, considering how aggressive a Darkseer can get in threatening a lane with level 2 Iron Shell. I suppose, again, with Jackie getting such a decent start, the Battle Fury timing shouldn't be held back too badly. Once you hit that plus Blink DKB, find a pickoff into Roshan, or just sneak into Rosh, if there's enough space. That can also boost the tempo up here for Bleed, and again, it doesn't feel like Cox can really do much to stop Jackie from just finding that farm here anyhow.
Another charge. Yoe, he's going to get chained up here by Emo. He needs the help ASAP. Paulson had the Iron Shell applied to him as well for that added bit of damage onto Yoe. But he will be okay. Bit of a tango provided here by the boss. Yoe, he's still going to have that 6-minute power rune to try and fight over. Though I don't know how confident he's going to be to try for it against Emo and Paulson on the breaker. But Cuckoo is still going to stick around as bottom lane, a bit of a fight to break out. Looks like they'll be okay. Meanwhile, Emo, he does pick up the amp damage. So the Ember, getting a nice little rune for himself. Probably could think about making some rotations, but it seems though he will just activate it for the sake of fun.
Yeah, does hit level 6 now as well on Emo. With the chain gang, does make it easier, much easier to isolate out Yoel though.
Oh, Jackie, he's already down. Say in trouble. Say will go for a run, and it seems like Yo is not going to die. He runs out of mana on the Zeus, doesn't really care for the CM kill. As long as he sees Jackie die, he'll be more than happy.
And that's the kind of kill you're looking for here. Good movement out, going from the bounty. Doesn't even need to really be there, since he killed with a Thunder God's Rat, but more than happy to soak some extra there on the side. Again, this Zeus starting to get a little bit more than you'd want it to. Already melting through Emo, forcing this issue, but does have a Remnant out at the least, playing on edge. That will force him all the way back to base and maybe Remnant back in. Again, all of this movement focused down bot and on mid has been freeing up the top lane for Palos. Zeal is getting a decent amount of farm going here as well for Darkseer. Double bracers already up. Has the quick wit once more, so he's getting a lot of bonus int from having so many bracers, so he's getting a lot more attack speed as well. Love that positive feedback loop for Zeal. But it is going to take some time until we feel the impact of this Darkseer. Still, they have been focusing on mid again.
They will try on Yoe. He's got the Heavenly Jump available. In fact, he'll turn around, cancel the charge first, but he will die. Emo does get him with that max slide of fist damage. Emo looks like he should be fine. In fact, they'll turn on to Cuckoo now. Cuckoo will be able to back his way out just fine. But Emo being a real nuisance here on the mid-Ember, just diving the Zeus and once again making life a little bit hard for Yoe. And that's going to be the first death for Yoe this game.
Again, that pressure is on the right spot. Focusing on that Zeus, finally finding some punishment. Got an opportunity for Cox here, but still have the protection of Jing. Still already a lot of damage being applied on that bot tier 1. It's not like the Slaughter is an amazing pusher in the first place. So they are just pressuring hard onto Jackie, trying to slow down while they can. Love what Zeal's doing, just sneaking into the jungle, stealing away some camps. They've already blocked some camps as well. So preventing any sort of easy access points in the forward camps here for Palos to build up on. Again, just ramping up this timing for the aura buildup that looks like Zeal might be trying to gun for. The aggression is starting to kick in. Again, Paulson, with a herd mentality, is already level 5. So he has a lot of threat, especially as he approaches 6 with the bonus EXP he's getting. Can start to even consider making just constant movements onto mid. Doesn't feel like Yo is the most well protected at the moment here.
Yo is actually being dived as we speak. Paulson, I mean, he had the Iron Shell again, but he does not want to dive into that tier 1 mid tower, so he'll leave him be. This is why Emo probably asked for the the Ember pick to begin with, is the Zeus eventually will start to have a few issues when it comes to this hero. Sure, the laning stage was a little bit dire for Emo, but he has certainly caught up quite nicely, keeping on even parity with Yoe. I doubt it's going to get too much harder here for the Ember. Like, Emo's now gotten through the hardest part of the game for himself, as now he'll jump Cuckoo in the mid lane. Cuckoo able to just Icarus dive away. The Sleight of Fist barely not enough, but they've got the charge vision. They'll keep going. Meanwhile, Emo in a bit of trouble as Yoe will try to burst him down. They'll take down Cuckoo, but they'll lose Emo. Emo is out of there just fine as Yoe now being nether strike by Paulson, but it's not enough.
Emo still having to recover from that deeper dive. And Phoenix not able to contribute in the chase for Yoet. We'll take the freebie kill down bot. Just a little bit of pressure onto Jackie.
He's going to be okay. He'll just pop the Enrage and survive through the bashes that were incoming from Cox. Meanwhile, mid lane, just Emo looking so confident behind that T1. In fact, the T1's already gone. Just farming so deep on the Ember, knowing they can't really lock him down. I think this is a very concerning sign now for TNC Predator, because you've got your mid-pick Emo, who's probably going to start popping up.
And he is. You don't have the best lockdown for the Ember outside of this blink timing that we're looking for from Cox. So Emo's going to be free to do what he wants for quite a fair bit of time. It's going to be hard to really put a dent in that. Lines drawn up top, looking to start to apply some pressure onto Palos. Palos himself is going for the full Desolator first. So he wants to play with a minus armor they are getting with Cox. Just try to look for some physical burst play here, slowing down his farming pace without something like the Maelstrom, or his early fight presence, of course, with something like a fast Urn on F1. But he is being allowed to farm this freely. His tower is under pressure. It doesn't quite look like TNC care to defend. They've already taken bot in exchange. I think they have this understanding on TNC that the side of Bleed is ready to go. Again, they've got the levels up. Dive on Cuckoo.
I think the big knockback as well, but Yo is here. Emo's going to be a little bit cautious. He'll try to remnant away, but they've got the kill. Oh, Emo, he'll get tipped here. Cuckoo letting him know it was all a bait all along. There's plenty of time for TNC to try and respond, because they were trying to search for the Phoenix for quite a while. This time TNC do successfully punish.
That's a big kill for Yoa to find. Just having this goal to finish up the full phylactery, a little bit more mana, a little bit more HP to play with. Curious what Yoa goes for next. Again, normally he goes for the Yashikaya. It does feel like he might want something defensive, either a Yules or a BKB after Akaya, just for some burst. Does get himself a nice haste rune here as well to play with. There's some opportunities that can open up for the side of TNC, but all things considered, they still have egg.
Can they get him? No, they can't. The Brambles didn't actually land. Jing did. He was ready for the Terrorize. He trusted that the Brambles would lock Emo down there for a split second, but it wasn't quite enough. As now Yoe still chasing Emo down. Emo, the Remnant, it's very, very slow, but the Freezing Field from the backside, Say trying to save it. Yoe, he's out of there for now. He'll find Emo. The Nether Strike, oh, it's not it. Paulson is down. Palos will take him out. Yoe somehow survives. And more tips are being given to Emo. Oh my goodness, TNC Predator. This is kind of the thing with this team. You know, they get the mental advantage over you. When the tips start flying out, you've got to start getting worried.
Yeah, and again, remember how their run in Riyadh Masters happened when they were playing up against Bleed. They were spamming that Bleed for Me voice line. That's why they had them all muted. You know, so you know, the mutes are there, but it doesn't stop the tips. Hopefully, you know,
doesn't.
Bleed hold out in that as they charge.
Palos, I mean, he's a great target if you can take him down, but Palos is perfectly fine. In fact, Polison's now the one in danger. Not sure what the idea was there from Polison. She almost gets taken down here by the right click of Palos, but he's going to be all right. He'll make his way out. Maybe just trying to be a little bit of a nuisance towards that Pos1 Weaver. Speaking of now, Polison and Say, they'll head down towards the mid lane with the smoke up on 2. They'll just hang behind Emo by the looks of it. Try to use Emo as bait. Yoe might take that bait. In fact, Yoe, he'll show up. He'll reveal himself on that mid Zeus. I'm not really sure if you want to take this risk, though. We've seen this before. Yoe, he'll cop another strike. He's on the low ground. This could be scary, but Polison might just fall. Yoe, he'll get to the high ground. They've got to try and take him out, surely. Freezing field, they've finally got him. It's Cuckoo. He'll drop the air. Cox trying to save Cox. No. Cuckoo is down. Emo might fall, though. They'll get him with the Dark Willow. Cox in trouble. Cox being chased here by Jackie. The Terrorize. It'll barely land by Jing. So Cox will survive. Emo will get tipped again by Cuckoo. And this is it. They know who to aim. They are focusing Emo. They are trying to break down the mentality of Emo.
That they are. Full focus on him. They trade fairly equally. In fact, a little bit better for Bleed considering the slight net worth advantage that you do have on TNC. But it doesn't matter to TNC. The fact that they trade equally does make that all the better. The higher knockback from Paulson does barely clip Yoe down, but still having the heavenly jump does make that a pretty tough call. And makes that fight a lot harder, giving some opportunities to play back here, although Cuckoo is sacrificed. Just a little bit too late on the crush here from Cox. But still, you are buying some space out. I mean, you have to drag Jackie back in for that fight, but he does have Battle Fury. So at the least now, farming going forward, clearing out camps, it's going to be a lot quicker. And again, the threat for Roshan starts to open up a little bit more for Bleed. Once they have this blink up, maybe the BKB, again, depends on the state of the map at that point, but the options for that snowball for Bleed is starting to kick back in. Still, Palos has his full Desolator up, so if they connect with Cox now and get a good swarm going as well, the minus armor can be overwhelmed to deal with, although Cuckoo.
They've got a nice... Oopsie daisies, wrong way with the Nether Strike, but it shouldn't matter. Cuckoo will still die. Nice pickup by Polison, but here comes Palos. Palos may be looking to see if he can find himself a bit of a straggler kill, but looks like he does miss out for now as the rest of Bleed do head directly south. And it seems as though they're going to be just fine as TNC, they'll have to just allow Cuckoo to die for nothing. I wonder if TNC are concerned, though, because Palos and Yoe are still top 2 net worth. Like, Jackie has gotten to the stage now where he is onto the Battle Fury into the Blink. So his farm is going a lot faster than it was just earlier on. But comparatively to the Weaver, like, Palos is having a great old time.
That he is. I don't think you're too concerned on TNC. The main concern is going to be Roshan, but they are maintaining tempo to keep hunting before that Roche happens. And again, they're connecting with Cox. They've got the minus armor strat lined up. You're getting this fast timing on Yoe. Has the shard flying into the BKB. So again, changing up the itemization, just going for Kaya Phylactery into shard BKB, knowing that he needs some defense here from all to hold that Bleed has. It won't quite save you from, say, a Nether Strike if Paulson does manage to find an angle in. It does still provide more play opportunity here for Yoe. Smoke does not amount to much. Game state is still rather equal. I do appreciate the forward vision setup here from Bleed as well, just watching the top and watching the river. A good line across to give some ideas as to where TNC is running about right now, and are just completely avoiding. With this kind of setup on the map, it is a prime opportunity for Jackie to consider that Roche is getting just enough gold for the blink off this camp. So they could look for it if they set up the wards for it, and they do. This could be their time for Roche while TNC is a little bit scattered around.
They might try for it here. I mean, Jackie just picked up the blink to boot, so it's a pretty nice power spike for the Ursa with the blink up. They'll go straight towards the Roshan pit, and I do not believe TNC Predator are very well aware of this happening. They'll even drop the freezing field, no wasting time. Just an immediate Roshan attempt here from Bleed Esports. And indeed, TNC Predator, they're going to be literally nowhere near the pit. So no contest to come. Bleed will take this first Roshan for free. And that'll be a pretty big win for them. Something they definitely need.
and a secondary life to Emo as well, who will be diving forward. Don't mind us too much. I think Jackie's still going to be able to stay true, especially as the BKB starts to come online here for the Ursa. Much rather have this great jump potential from Emo lined up for. Some pressure onto the mid from TNC, but Fortify will stall. He will try for his smoke out here on Bleed. Again, no defensive wards from the side of TNC, so very dark in that top vision here.
Palos does get the charge cancelled here with the Brambles Maze. Emo trying to find a chain target, will chase the Dark Willow, but the Terrorize is going to fly out, and Palos, thinking about going back in, does get out with the Sakuchi. They'll chain him up though. Palos may be in a little bit of danger, but Cox is going to move in, and the time-lapse away will be there. Meanwhile, Emo, he lost a lot of HP for one right-click of Palos. It's the minus armor between Cox and Palos with the Desolator. It's pretty ridiculous how much minus armor they can provide.
It's a ton of damage. Even with a Swarm on as well. Just even one tick off the Swarm amps up that damage by a huge degree. Just not able to play off the back foot. Again, you've got 2 lives here on Emo, and Bleed are still looking to fight under these boards.
They've got Jin. Jin being charged, but the charge is actually cancelled as they'll go for Cuckoo instead. So Cuckoo will go down. TNC Predator, they'll group up, but it seems as though Bleed Esports pretty happy with that kill. They'll take what they get. They'll back their way out. No need to rush the game. It's still a very even game between these two. I mean, just a very slight net worth lead the way of TNC Predator. But certainly with the Aegis up on Bleed Esports, they are the ones trying to apply the big pressure.
That they are. The one big concern I have for Bleed is if this game holds a little bit too long, like they're not able to press this advantage, which they are trying, to be fair, but eventually you're going to hit this point where you've got 2 supports with ults on hand. You're going to have BKBs coming out for Fox and for Yoe. And suddenly this initiation you have with Charge Forward isn't going to be as effective with the ult saves or the ult interrupts options here for TNC. I already have the 1 ults up. Cuckoo still lacking gold for his. Eventually will be there. Yoe, BKB is still a couple of parts away. Same with Fox. But it is very difficult to play in. Again, the ideas here from Bleed are great. The wards are nice to help set up for this aggressive play up top, playing across the river. But TNC, they've got utility to kind of help with that. They've got Thunder God's Wrath to just scout around, give a rough idea as to where Bleed are trying to play. And they're comfy with his farm game. They're comfy with just dodging this Aegis and stalling for time.
Why the hell not? It's the way to play it. Just wait for the Aegis to expire before you do get going. Maybe there comes a concerning point once Jackie does have the BKB into the Basher up on the Ursa. The Basher does tend to be the point at which the Weaver does start to get a little bit afraid as to the control the Ursa can provide himself. So Palos actually going to reveal himself down at this bottom lane to boot, but there'll be no charge to come out from Paulison. Palos not actually opting to go for anything like a Lincoln Sphere either on the Weaver quite yet as well, I might add, which is a pretty popular item to pick up against the Spirit Breaker, but I suppose Palos hasn't really felt the need for it yet.
Oh, I think they feel well protected with just the yields. Jing?
Should be dead here. Emo, be able to follow him down. The Yule Scepter will be out. The Curse Crown will lock Emo down there for a second, though they do lose Jing, but here comes the smoke. A 4-man smoke from TNC Predator. They'll make the jump in on Say first, so Say on the Crystal Maiden really can't survive this initiation, I do not believe. Palos will take care of the kill. So 1 for 1 of the supports. In Bleed Esports, it does not seem like they're interested in a fight, even with the Aegis up.
No. And that's one big part of their hold right now on the side of Bleed, outside of the chains coming out from Chain Gang still. Just charging back to the wave. Not really looking for anything bigger. Egg is still ready for TNC if they decide to force something big here.
Ooh, Emo's going. I mean, Cox, he's stuck around. The Cox is a pretty tanky target. They'll drag him back up with the vacuum, but he's still alive. They'll knock him back now, but Cuckoo with the Sunray healing him up. Cox finally going down, but what's it going to cost? Palos on the backside. He's got Zill down on the dark sea. Jackie's going to go for the man fight against the Weaver, but Palos will chase him down. Jackie has to run. This is not the fight they wanted. Emo in the meantime. Emo in trouble. He'll remnant away, but he's still going to lose that first life. The Aegis is gone. Can they get him a second time? They cannot. Cuckoo will die to Emo. And Emo will successfully get his way out. A team fight very back and forth, but it actually is in the favor of TNC.
works out their way. They take away the Aegis. They find 2 kills. They're getting some charges, more charges up for Palos, who's, and considering this Desolator, it has been pretty slow in getting that added damage. Now it's starting to ramp up a little bit more. And without the Aegis to protect Emo, it does get fairly awkward. Like, even this decision to give it to Emo made it awkward for Jack to fully commit with a jump forward, trying to look for a burst. Without that basher, it just doesn't feel like you can really hold down Palos just yet and threaten. And that's TNC taking that fight without popping the egg on Cuckoo. Didn't find a big opportunity to use it, and it still works out for TNC very roughly there. Bleed are still able to get some wins out of that and keep the game rather even. But the Aegis being gone does provide some more time here for TNC. They can, again, play a little bit more defensively. They could start to consider a Roche fight as well. I think that's going to be the big aspect. If they can contest Roshan, like get a good crush, get a good egg usage out from Cuckoo in the middle of the Roche pit, that fight can go very wonkily for Bleed if the position isn't quite correct. So, and again, TNC's building into that point where they've got the tools to fight. They've got the fresh BKB up on Yoe. They've got the BKB still one part away for Cox. Could be a good target here if they fully commit.
They're going. Cox realizing something is a little bit wrong. He is going to be able to successfully back towards the tier 2 tower and will remain just fine. Blade Esports, man, they're still hanging around this top left side of the map. Maybe already thinking about the next Roshan attempt, but that's still going to be a while away. I mean, you really do get somewhat concerned about Bleed when it comes to Palos. Like this Weaver, you saw that last fight, Palos just had no fear. Rushing in, trying to find the back, and with the amount of damage he does provide, it's pretty ridiculous how quickly he can take these cores out. Like Zeal on the Darkseid, he got like 3 hit to death. It was pretty ridiculous.
And that's him with a full Guardian Reeves. That little bit extra armor and regen is just not quite enough to sustain Trio. He's going for a full plate mail, perhaps a Lotus or a Shiva's AC buildup. Either one kind of works. Any of them works here for saves on the side of Bleed. The plate mail alone should provide a little bit more durability for Zeal. Again, Bleed is hugging together very tightly. They're not able to work the map as effectively as TNC is. They're just scattered all over the place. Farming confidently on Palos, farming on Cox, farming on Yoe. Whereas Bleed is just kind of clumped around her wards. Like, they're trying to play it off this ward vision up top. It really hasn't paid off. TNC has not really hugged that area whatsoever. At least that specific jungle between the top and mid tier 2s. And every moment where you're not picking off, again, it just feels like you're allowing TNC to hit critical mass. You're going to have an additional yields on Cuckoo soon. You've got the full BKB up for Cox, so double BKBs are set to go. You've got a Crystallis up on Palos, who freely takes a tier 2 now. Could go in straight into the Daedalus with his shard up. We've seen what the Weaver can do hitting this timing. It just melts heroes. Now you've got the Yashakaya as well for Yoe. Even more damage coming out here from our Zeus. Going straight into a Sight of Vice. Love this read from Yoe, just more control. Roshan a minute away. You've got the ward set up around this area to cut off TNC, so might be able to take this fight into Roche.
This will be a big fight if they can catch Yoe first, but Palos is going to show up in Evo. He does get stunned up. He'll get the Slider Fist off. He'll be able to remember away as now Cox does go down. Jackie will take down the offlane Slider. It's a great start for Bleed Esports. He did have to commit the BKB on the Ursa for that, but it'll be well and truly worth it. Roshan up in 30 seconds. Bleed now looking for a little bit more. Emo going to try and bait them forward. Does get the Glaive onto a couple, but the Bramble Mace making it harder. Now the Terrorize. Yoe, he'll jump in. They've got Emo down. The Ember is dead. Say will try to get out. Palos will leave him be. Meanwhile, Zill's still being chased here by the other side. As they will take down Palos. Meanwhile, Palos being chased by Jackie does get taken down. Jackie gets him. They're on a Yoe now. They want that Mitsu's gone. Meanwhile, Zill, he does die in the Darkseid. Jackie's still trying to go after the Zeus, has picked him up. Yoe goes, so does Jing. Jackie will salvage the team fight for Bleed Esports. I'll tell you what, it looked really bad after Emo died, but the Ursa does manage to make it happen.
That's the one thing you can't risk. You have to be able to get some distance between Palos and Jackie. You have to be able to try to kite around the Ursa as much as possible. Because once he's on top of the Basher, it just ends very badly. Palos didn't quite have time-lapse off cooldown there as well. And off the back of that fight, Bleed have access into Roche. No egg to defend. Very prolonged fight, starting off with his pick off onto Cox while they try to play aggressive on Crush onto Emo. But then Emo goes so damn far forward, not respecting it. They manage to cut off the charge from Paulson with a good brambles out from Jing. And just get the one key target they have, leaving Palos to just melt some of the softer targets. Still, very spread out once more. They managed to regroup. This is the big part. They regroup onto that jungle, and they managed to get that jump on Palos. That just ruins the fight. With a back wall down,
Oh, Jackie.
just can't hold that area.
Jackie, he's the one to jump. Cox was thinking about it, but he was underneath vision the whole time. They'll find Jing on the Dark Willow by the looks of it, though. Palos trying to help out, but Jackie just annihilates that Dark Willow so quickly. It's Cox, not out of the woods yet either. Jackie, though, not getting lucky with a bash. Cox will be able to walk his way out of there, but this Ursa is looking very, very scary at this stage.
That it is. Have a secondary life for Jackie. Have the full Abyssal slowly being formed up here. The control is starting to get a little bit overwhelming for TNC, as they do just get bursted down in that window. Smoke out for Bleed, maintaining that pressure. One more pickoff can lead to even more objectives here. Cox and Palos showing down bot. Not quite in vision yet, but they've got the right ideas here in TNC. Still, gate usage for TNC should dodge this one out. Key things now for TNC, it does feel like someone needs to pick up a halberd. Cox is still going for an Ags instead, and they do have good forward vision that spots out Cox. Paulson just going to be annoying here. Not going to full commit. Doesn't risk it, but they have really good vision now. Like, they've had vision, good ideas behind the vision here, but...
I think he was just getting the vision for his team. I think he's thinking about carrying on up at this top lane. Paulson just waiting for Cox to show himself, and Cox will. Jackie waiting, they'll go for the charge out, they'll find the slaughter, and eventually Jackie will be able to make the jump in. So Cox, well, he'll at least get a stun off, but the chains from Emo from a mile away is going to ensure that there's no escape here for Cox. You are now getting to that stage where Jackie will start to farm towards the Abyssal Blade, and again, that's only going to make matters a lot worse for TNC Predator.
And they at least managed to snag a Tormentor away, getting some free gold for themselves here on TNC, and will get their own as well. So 560 gold for each hero now. Pretty big boost for the side of TNC, considering the shortcomings they are up against, or they have on hand. And it does feel like someone needs to pick up a halberd here. Perhaps after this Ags comes in from Cox, the Yule's Ags. And just need a way to just constantly kite the Ursa. You've also got the side of Vice timing for Yoa, but it's still a ways off. Right now, it's really Bleed's game to play. Find the tier 1 tower bot. Might be able to find some pickoffs if they overextend here.
They may. They will not. TNC, they do retreat. Bleed Esports, though, looking toward that tier 2 bottom tower. They should have no problems picking this one up. It does not seem like anybody is really too interested in fighting on the low ground from TNC's end of things. Charge out, though. Looks like they have found themselves Yoe. That's a big pickup. They can get it, and Yoe, he will get caught by the charge of Paulson. Try to make a heavenly jump away, but it's going to be very hard to get away from Paulson. He's kind of needs some help right now. Paulson will tie Yoe. He'll BKB TP out. He's all right. Oh, Yoe's not stuck with Paulson. Paulson was stuck with him.
Oh, you have got to still respect the live wire. With the short, it's still a ton of right-click damage. Go Scepter to try to save from the right clicks, but that just leads to easier bursts with the Arc Lightning and Lightning Bolt. Does cost the BKB charge of Yoe down to 7 seconds. But you are just trying to dodge out here on the side of TNC. You can see how much magical pumped out there by Yoe. It can be a hard target isolated like that. Just a little bit too far for the rest of Bleed. Quick thinking from Yoe to just BKB TP out from the chains. Do have the Yules up now on Cox. Again, mass Yules here from the side of TNC to try to get some self-dispels on, or to just try to cut off the attack angles of Bleed so far. It is still looking easier for Bleed to play. Like, they've got the Lotus Orb up on Zeal to protect. They've got the threat of Vac Wall. They have insane reach with Pulse and Emo, and they've got all the damage in the world and control with Jackie as well. With that Abyssal Blade up. TNC, they've got to play their cards right. It has to be a really good egg usage out, a big crush, good spacing for Palos. And all of that's easier said than done. Bleed has been on top. Their initiation angles are just so much easier.
Bleed is still being very patient, not trying to force any kind of high ground attempt yet. Looking for a big pick-off first. And Palos will venture out through the top lane, so you could think about going for... Oh, he does have a Linken's anyway, so it's going to be hard to charge up the Weaver that quickly. Jing being a bit of a nuisance as well, pushing out the top wave, not allowing the push to come in from Bleed Esports. And this is that stage of the game, but we always talk about it, but you're waiting for the next Roshan. You're probably not going to go high ground without a pick-off being made first. And so Bleed, I'm very sure, are going to play a slow game for at least the next 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah. Just give it a wait. They've got all the lanes shoved mostly in their favor except for bot. No forward vision being set up by TNC around a pit. Very defensive ward usage right now for TNC. Just trying to prevent any losses closer to their high ground here. I'm not seeing the big item timings that you'd want for TNC. Again, they went very defensive with multiple Yules. They've got the Aether Lens up on Cuckoo, so with a hot spot, that is a lot more damage and healing coming out at max range if Cuckoo can position himself right. But it still feels overwhelming from Bleed. Again, just one more move into Roshan, high ground completely opens up. And for TNC, they have to play it right. They have to play it so perfect to find this angle in these engagements. Bleed, it just gets worse and worse, right? Like you're going for the BKB on Emo next, so he's not going to be held back when he jumps forward. No real threat on him. Once that is up, Jackie going for the Octarine. Just to have Enrage constantly up and running, just have all the overpowers in the world will instantly buy out. TNC go, looking for a smoke play. Again, no forward vision, all very defensive wards from TNC, so the map is a little bit dark.
That it is. TNC Predator, they'll make their move up. Bleed Esports, they'll get some good vision down. D-wards are available if they do want it, but Cox will jump in. He wants Say on that C end of the Ghost Scepter. It'll buy Say a little bit of time. He will still survive, but now the Sunray will eventually take him out. That's one. No buyback for Say. It's Bleed Esports trying to retreat, but Cox is on the chase. He has the blink up. He'll get locked down by the Glade Fiend. The Nether Strike is out. Now the back wall. Zeal catching two of them, but the X-Sunray, it's going to make it too hard for Bleed. They've got to get out of there. Jackie is gone. Oh, Jackie is gone. Bleed Esports have only got Emo left. A rough team fight as Emo trying to TP. Cox will get it though. The Yule Scepter. Cox has found the final piece of the puzzle. Emo's trying to run, but Emo's down. Yes. Oh no. Suddenly Bleed Esports. You know, a bit of blood in the water, Jonathan, and TNC, they strike immediately.
It just goes southbound for Bleed. They can't get the BKB off from Jackie. The egg was in the perfect spot from Cuckoo to maximize the hotspot with the Aether Lens there as well. It looked a little bit dicey. Getting that Nether Strike off into a huge vac, catching Cox on the side. But the follow-through just wasn't there. Again, with the egg in such a good spot from Cuckoo, they couldn't focus it down with Jackie, so even if he popped that BKB, he would have still been stun-locked by the egg and melted away. That's the execution we need to see from TNC, and they get it done. They split that fight up, they lose Cuckoo. The nice pick-off from Paulson, but that's not enough to stop this.
Sadly, Yoe didn't have vision to cancel the TP. Missed the lightning bolt, but won't matter too much anyway. Suddenly, TNC 9k ahead in the net worth department, and well, the win probability just dipping right down. Bleed had about an 80% win probability just before that team fight, and now it's kind of gone the opposite way. TNC Predator, the ones in the lead of this game number one. Roshan is up in 15 seconds. There is not enough time for Bleed to really think about this. They've got to get to the pit. They'll four-man smoke up, they'll rush right towards the top left corner of the map where Roshan should respawn. Question is, do TNC want to force the fight? They've got 20 seconds without Cuckoo. He can buy back. I think they do want to fight this. Like, there's no way you give Roshan away for free.
They should understand that that's the big objective. They're not in position, though. Good boards from Bleed being sneaky around that camp on mid. Should be able to spot out. Matt Cox isn't quite in position. The Roar will give this one away, but it will fall way too quick for the side of TNC to respond with the damage coming out here from Jackie.
They might respond, John. They're coming. TNC, I think they've made it in time. Jackie should still have the Roshan, though, and does pick up the Aegis. Cheese his way as well. Terrorize not actually going to be fully committed by Jing. He'll hold off. The Cox looking for a target. Does see safe for a moment. They'll get the vision with the Thunder God's Wrath, and now Zeal will try to TP away, and in fact, Say. I love what Say just did. He just bounces forward to ensure he dies instead of his offlane Darkseid. You love to see. He just says straight up, I'm killing myself for you.
Yep. That's some necessary space. This Roche had to work for Bleed. Big bonuses coming out with a free Ags Blessing on hand. With Jackie having the Octarine, this is everything he could possibly ask for here on the Roshan. Although they will pass it over to Emo instead.
Paulson might regret taking that creep wave, or maybe not, because apparently they could not get vision over the man. So the Shadow Blade more than enough to allow him to walk out. So Paulson is okay. TNC Predator unable to really capitalize off this rotation down towards the bottom side of the map. And I'll tell you, I mean, suddenly this game is back to almost even, I'd argue, John. But with the Aegis cheese up on Bleed Esports, even with the net worth advantage TNC found, it really is back to anyone's game.
And it is. You do have some big tools here for TNC. They fully commit with Yoeb buying out the side of Vice. They've got that hard control on hand, but again, you get the Ags Blessing on Emo. He's got a fresh BKB on hand. Can be much more confident initiating for his team. For TNC, this has to go back to, again, perfect egg positioning, good target prioritization, and space for Paulus to just try to burst people in the backline. He has so much damage with that Daedalus fully up and the Nullifier to take off saves. They just need to work their positioning in these fights. Still Bleed. There's some pressure on them to make use of this Aegis onto the high ground.
Jackie?
They sit back and farm.
Hold on a minute here. Jackie's going to be a little bit wary. I mean, he's got the Aegis up, maybe even thinking about just baiting for his team. But the 4-man smoke is there. TNC Predator, they want the fight. If they see Bleed, they'll happily initiate where they can. Palos has a full nullifier up, don't forget as well. Like, he is hitting like a truck, and he's got plenty of utility available on this Weaver. So he will move in. Then it goes to give the vision. Jackie, he'll get scythed up straight off the bat. Still has the Aegis up. He'll just back his way out of there as Palos going right into the backside has found Zeal on the Darkseid, so they've already lost their offlane. Moving in again though, Jackie trying to find Cuckoo, but the egg, it will fly out. They couldn't get it in time. Jackie, he's still going to try and fight for it, but he is going to lose his first life. He could not take down the egg, and now Jackie completely surrounded. He needs some help, but he's down.
Just melts.
He just absolutely melted to the damage of TNC. With the sight device of Yoe, it is very hard for the Ursa to get away. Paulson going down to boot. Emo getting tipped once again, as they will continue the Bleed for Me voice lines here against Bleed Esports. And now the pause out. Old bug, apparently, is what I'm hearing from Cox.
Yeah, it's the rangefinder bug, but still, TNC again playing it perfectly. It comes down to what we were talking about way earlier there, Mike. This triple Yults build on TNC, a Yults on Cox, a Yults on Cuckoo, a Yults on Jing. When these BKBs fade, not only do you have to worry about the side device, but just these Yults interrupting any play you have from Bleed. It just enables this constant isolation of Jackie, and he's just stuck in the middle. Emo with a BKB trying to get work done, but that was just way too far forward for Jackie. Trying to go out to clear out that mid-creep camp, that mid-creep wave gets cut off. Good target prioritization again from Palos to look for the backline. Cleans up Zeal, removes the threat of the back wall as their big team fight. And it just simplifies the process from there for TNC. 20-24, they've cleared out the Aegis. They don't have much to worry about. They can start digging a little bit further if they want to here.
I mean, absolutely. Palos, props to him. You already pointed it out, but just taking down Zeal every fight is making it very hard for Bleed to get those big counter initiations they've been looking for with the Darkseid. There goes your mid-racks. Jing starting with the voice lines once again. Bleed Esports have definitely muted TNC Predator at this stage. You know what? Get a high five with an NPC, apparently. The good guys. Tower number 4.
Yeah, the good
exact.
guys. I love that. That's the internal name for the model. Good guys and bad guys, I'm assuming now, for Dire side.
Unisu. It's not easy being from the Dire, Jonathan. Everyone hates you. Don't know why.
That is true. Just like that. Just like that as well. 2 racks taken basically by Palos. They'll drop it back just to deal with him. The illusions are strong.
It hits like a truck, but Palos doesn't really seem to care that much. He'll just time-lapse away. Though they do back him back, they do get another strike, but the Lincoln Sphere is going to block the Nether Strike, so Emo's going to try to run in, get the chains off, nullifier out, Palos in trouble, surely set to go down, but Emo's the one to drop! Emo's the one to go down! Palos does not fall! Palos will make it out! Oh boy, maybe the mental warfare's finally getting to him here, John.
You can't fault Emo for that. He tries to run up, he tries to set up a play. He gets clipped by the Shikuchi of Palos. Again, with the short and with his talents plus Geminate attacks, he just melts. Palos gets 1 auto attack out while stuck, and it just deletes. With the damage from Jing to clean up. It's getting rougher and rougher here for the side of Bleed. Again, very fragmented set of events. Dropping the wall early, trying to get a Weaver illusion to dissuade Palos from clearing out the entire base. Does save their bot set of racks in tier 3. But they have nothing to wait for on TNT any longer. They've got the egg back up for Cuckoo. They've got an amp damage for Palos off the back of that. This is not going to take long.
Yeah, he's hitting for about 700 damage right now, this Weaver, as Jackie's going to jump in, but the Hex is out! Oh, Jackie's down!
Oh my lord.
Oh, he'll buy it back, but the tips are there onto Jackie. Mega Creeps are just about on the way. TNT looking to take this game 1. They're on to Say. The Crystal Maiden is gone. Buyback available here for Say. Bleed Esports, they're not calling. Of course, this is for the road to TI. You want to play all the way in every single game that you can. Paulson will charge forward. The Yules are there to lock it down. Jackie in trouble again. Jackie might just be dead and he is gone. Jackie is down. No buyback. GG is called. They cannot defend without him. Bleed Esports. Game 1. They will go down. TNC Predator continue to surprise us.